Hello, thanks for coming back, and if you're new, welcome. Today's video is a video I have been meaning to make for a long time, a video about vanilla fragrances. Now, I have a lot of vanilla fragrances, so I wanted to divide it into two parts. Today's video, or part one, is a video about vanilla fragrances for people who are afraid of vanillas. And part two will be vanillas for vanilla lovers. Now, I have picked 10 and I have ranked them from 10 to 1. Fragrances I think people who tend to shy away from vanilla fragrances may just like. I also have another exciting announcement. One of these fragrances I have an extra bottle of and I will be giving away to someone. Just kind of as a thank you for supporting me. So if you're interested to see what my gateway vanillas are, keep watching. The fragrance in the number 10 spot is a fragrance that has been around for a while, and I haven't always been a big fan of it. For a while, it just really didn't fit my personality. But even though I don't wear it a lot, I think that this is a pretty good gateway vanilla for people who like white flowers and strong fragrances, and that is Dior Addict by Christian Dior. This is a beautiful white floral heavy fragrance. I think there's tuberose and jasmine. There's definitely a greenness, a green note in here, which comes from the mandarin leaf. Very strong. It is really kind of a well put together fragrance. It's very creamy. And that comes from a nice heavy dose of sandalwood. It's very strong, and I think that this is a great gateway vanilla for date night and when you want to make a statement. This is a very sexy fragrance. So number 10 spot goes to Dior Addict. In the number 9 spot is a fragrance by Guerlain, and that is called Mon Guerlain. Now, this is the EDP Intense version. I actually did a very responsible thing before buying this. I tried out the original and I tried out the Intense version, and I personally like this better for two reasons. Number one, this one has more vanilla, and number two, this one lasts longer. The original, I really couldn't get to last more than 3 or 4 hours. So if you don't know what this smells like, this is a beautiful fragrance that is basically lavender, vanilla, patchouli, and sandalwood. And the Intense version has more vanilla and less lavender and does last longer. Gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. I wore it a couple times this week and I remember thinking, why don't I wear this more often? It's just beautiful. Easy signature scent. So yeah, that made my list and it's number 9 position, Mon Guerlain. Okay, in the number 8 spot is a fragrance that I have talked about a couple times before, and it is by the house of Parle de Parfum, and that is Guimauve de Noel, which in French translates into Christmas marshmallow. Now, I think that this is a great gateway vanilla because even though there are 3 notes listed, orange blossom, vanilla, and sugar, the vanilla is not too strong, the sugar is not too sweet, and the orange blossom isn't too heady. They just come together so perfectly to create a great fragrance. And this fragrance is actually a bestseller for the house of Parle de Parfum outside of the United States. So there's a reason why this sells and does really, really well. I think it's a perfectly blended fragrance, and I think the name is perfect because like a marshmallow, this fragrance is light and airy and sweet and puffy. And this happens to be the fragrance I have an extra bottle of. So I have an extra bottle of a 50 ml of the Guimauve de Noel, brand new, and I'd like to give it away to somebody who will enjoy the fragrance. So if you're interested, go ahead and drop a line down below. The only thing I ask is that this is a fragrance that you think might appeal to you. So I really want someone to keep it and enjoy it, or if not, give it to a loved one. So yeah. So yeah, number 8 spot, Guimauve de Noel by Parle de Parfum. It's beautiful. in the number 7 spot is, I think, a great starter vanilla for the spice lovers out there. And it is another fragrance I've talked about, and it's by Sylvaine Delacourte, and it is called Vengelis. Now, this is not a typical vanilla fragrance. If you don't like vanillas because you are used to the super sweet, super syrupy, icing type fragrances, this is the exact opposite of that. You can tell that the vanilla in this is very natural and it's of really high quality. Yeah, so the spices in here are chai spices. There is cardamom, clove, and cinnamon. There's a definite detectable citrusy note. I think there's clementine in this. As the more I wear it and the hotter it is, I definitely pick up an almond note. There is almond in here. And to me, especially on the warmer days, it kind of smells like an almond cookie. So once the spices kind of dry down, you're left with a warm, natural, woody vanilla that has some almond touches. So it's kind of like drinking a chai tea and eating an almond cookie. So yeah, beautiful gateway vanilla for the spicy lovers out there. So yeah, Vangelis. Okay, and the number 6 spot is a fragrance I can't believe I haven't talked about yet. I love this perfume. It is a great gateway vanilla because this vanilla has a lot of character. And that fragrance is Divine Vanille by Essential Parfums. So what is it about this vanilla that I think gives it a lot of character? Well, lots of things. Number 1, it has some spices, but it's not overly spicy. There's a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of clove. This definitely is a boozy vanilla. There's some spices and there's incense in here. This is kind of an incensey, subtle incense in here. And there's some amber in here. There's an ambery character, kind of an ambery, tobacco-y vibe that I pick up. So lots of character, lots of different facets. And one of the best things about this fragrance, besides the juice, is the price. This is a niche house. This is a 100 ml bottle and this was $75. So you really can't beat it. It's a gorgeous, very versatile, wonderful vanilla that's not too sweet and is in my number 6 position. Yeah, Divine Vanille. Okay, we're getting into the top 5. So in the number 5 position is a fragrance I've had for a long time, and this is actually a repurchase. I repurchased this fragrance because, well, for several reasons. Number 1, it's a wonderful vanilla. And number 2, it holds sentimental value for me. So, and the fragrance I'm talking about is Orchidee Vanille by Vangelis and Arpels. This is a vanilla that I never tire of. I just think this is a wonderful vanilla. So there's a touch of citrus in the beginning. I think there's orange in here. There is a beautiful chocolate note, like a dark chocolate note in this fragrance. There is definitely an indistinguishable floral note. And even though it says orchid in the name, there's no such thing as orchid essential oil. Orchid is a fantasy note. It is a note that is created in the lab. And when they make it in the lab, they want it to smell like an exotic spicy flower. So there is some sort of really lovely floral note in here. And this just comes together to form, in my opinion, a perfectly composed or an almost perfectly composed fragrance that just kind of hits all the right notes. The vanilla's not too sweet, the chocolate's not too sweet, and the flowers are not too heady. So I think this could appeal for lots of reasons, and that's why it made my number 5 spot. In the number 4 position is a fragrance I love, and I think it's a great gateway vanilla for those who are not afraid of a little adventure in their fragrances, and it is by the House of Zerjoff, and it is Ivory Root. I love everything about this fragrance, and there's a lot to love in this one. It is super, super unique, and it is anything but a linear fragrance. First of all, in the beginning, there is a nice peppery, spicy note. It's very peppery, very spicy. I know there's basil in this, but the more I wear it, the more I think that there is a note of mint. And the reason I say that is because one of the things I love about this is a beautiful, kind of a mentally sweet camphorous note. And if you ever take fresh basil and fresh mint, which I have because I grow both of them in my backyard, and rub them together, you will get a real nice kind of a sweet, mentally sweet camphorous note, which I absolutely get in here and I love. Now, as it dries down, it gets more woody. And to me, it gets really smoky. It's woody, it's smoky. And even though vanilla is not listed in the notes, it definitely has a beautiful vanillic sweetness. So everything about this I love. This is absolutely unisex. I would love to smell it on a female, and I would love to smell this on a male. I mean, if somebody wanted to wear this on a date, I would be a-okay with that. That would be really good in my book. So number 4 spot is Ivory Root by Zerjoff. In the number 3 spot is one of the first fragrances I thought of when I wanted to do this gateway vanilla video. I immediately thought of this fragrance, and I immediately thought of the fragrance in the number 1 spot. But I actually, for me, prefer this one better because it has a couple of really fun notes in here that I love. And I accidentally just stumbled across it one time 2-3 years ago visiting my parents in Houston, Texas. And I popped into this really cute kind of snazzy little store or boutique, and over in one side of the store there were a bunch of niche fragrances that I had never heard of before. And I was looking at them, and I'm not going to lie, I was immediately drawn to this particular fragrance. First of all, for the name, but once I smelled it, I absolutely fell in love with the juice. And that is by the House of Arquiste, and it's called Architects Club. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. But so the inspiration of this fragrance is, it's supposed to be a group of architects who gather at a club for cocktails, and they have martinis in their hand. So I definitely get a martini vibe right up front, and it's one of the notes I really like. There's juniper berry. Martini is one of my favorite favorite drinks. Martini with a twist is one of my favorite drinks. And I love the smell of juniper, and I love the taste of juniper in gin. So there's definite juniper berry. There's also lemon, and there is a detectable note of angelica. So if you've never smelt angelica, it comes from a plant, and it gives fragrances kind of a sweet, rooty smell. And if you smelt Angelique Noir, that's the sweet green note that you're smelling. It's angelica. It's not as heavy in this fragrance, but it is detectable. So yeah, as this fragrance dries down, it just becomes a really pretty, soft, woody vanilla with maybe in the dry down a touch of leather, but beautiful fragrance. I love this. I will be getting a full bottle after I declutter a few other bottles. And the nice thing about this, I should have bought it from the company or the online store, because if you buy the travel size first and you really like it, then you can get the full bottle, and the cost of this is removed when you buy the full bottle. But Architects Club, I love it. I think it's a great gateway vanilla, and that's why it made my number 3 spot. Okay, we're down to the top 2, and the fragrance that is in my number 2 position is a fragrance that I only have a sample of. That's how good it is. It catapulted to the number 2 position, and this is a fragrance house that I was introduced to by my friend Melissa Jean, and this is by the House of Commodity. And the fragrance that I'm talking about that's in the number 2 position is called Commodity Gold. Obviously you can't see that, so I will put the picture somewhere over here. But this fragrance is a fabulous vanilla for people who shy away from vanillas, because I would characterize this as a light, fresh, airy, citrusy vanilla that's not too sweet and it's not too strong. So this fragrance also has juniper berry in it, kind of like Architect's Club, but the juniper in Architect's Club is a little bit stronger. This has citrusy notes, and the citrus in this is from bergamot. There is, it's resinous. There's a little bit of benzoin in here. There's amber here in addition to the vanilla, and it's got a touch of musk. So it's such a great non-offensive vanilla. Very light, very fresh, very airy, very clean, not too sweet. And in my opinion, this kind of gives me similar vibes as if you were to take Byredo's Gypsy Water, Baccarat 540, and kind of combine the two. I think it would smell, in my opinion, very similar to Commodity Gold. So yeah, number 2 slot is Commodity Gold. Yeah, it's a good one. So we're down to the number 1 position. So the fragrance in the number 1 position is one of 2 fragrances I immediately thought of when I wanted to do this video. I thought of this fragrance and I thought of the Architect's Club. But there's a couple reasons why this one won the number 1 spot, and it is Uduell by Diptique. And the reason why this to me is the number 1 gateway vanilla is because it's very natural, it's very dry, it's very light, and it's very subtle. And the vanilla in this is not a typical sickly sweet or cloying vanilla. It is a very natural vanilla pod type of vanilla. I definitely pick up some spices in the beginning. I think there's pink pepper and something else. I don't know if it's clove or cardamom, but there's something else in here, some spice. There's a very subtle black tea note. And I don't even know if it's listed, but I pick up black tea. And maybe that's part of the spices that I'm smelling. And then as it dries down, it just becomes beautiful and woody and natural and soft. And it's not loud. It doesn't project a lot. It's not overbearing. And for those reasons, I think it is a great year-round and a great signature scent. So the number 1 spot for my gateway vanillas is Uduell by Diptique. Okay, that was it. My top 10 picks for gateway vanillas, or vanillas for those who are afraid of vanilla fragrances. I will be making another video in the next couple weeks, and it's for vanilla lovers. So it'll be a vanilla for vanilla lovers. But for this video, I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Did I miss anything? What would your top 10 be? Any major surprises? Also, don't forget about the free bottle I'm giving away of Guimauve to Noel. Again, just drop a note in the comments if you're interested. And I'm going to keep this open for 2 weeks, and I'm not going to advertise it to the, I'm not going to put it on the thumbnail, because I really want to say thank you to the people who have supported me and who have watched me and who have subscribed to me. I really, really want to give a shout out and a big thanks and pay it forward. This bottle was not given to me. I just accidentally ordered 2, and instead of going through the hassle of returning fragrances, which I never do, I thought I'll just give it away. So I will keep this open for 2 weeks, because I know, like me, I don't watch YouTube every day. I got a lot of stuff going on in the background, and I know other people are like that as well. So if you're interested in having your name in the hat, drop me a comment down below, and that lets me know that you're interested. So have a good one, and I will see you for the next one.